Hello, everybody. I'm a practicing therapist and a doctoral student of psychology. Today, we're going to go over how to know when an avoidant is truly serious about you. So, serious in terms of commitment, longevity of the relationship, and what you will start seeing. Now, I think there's a little bit of a misconception about this topic. A lot of individuals, sometimes when I make some of these videos, a lot of people are like, no, avoidants don't do that. Avoidants don't say that. Yes, avoidant attachment typically means individuals who are uncomfortable with physical closeness. They typically are very hyper independent, but more than that, it's usually about having a childhood where emotions were not necessarily beneficial for their well-being, to which they ended up being shaped to not show emotions or not be attached to individuals. So they do tend to avoid attachment. However, that doesn't mean that no avoidant in the world cannot love or who cannot change. And a lot of people in my videos might say, avoidants don't say that or avoidants don't do this. Yes, they do. I work with so many avoidant individuals. Many of them do change and do become serious about somebody. Now, it doesn't mean that if your partner hasn't done that they're not serious or they're not going to be, but it might just mean the bonds between you guys or maybe their own direction of where they're heading in their healing journey is just not there yet. But it is important to recognize that you guys deserve to know the potential of what a partner can be, so that if your partner is not there yet, that you have to start thinking either this is something that you expect in the future, or if you're not seeing any change at all, you might have to readjust what you are seeing for the relationship. But that's why I make a lot of these videos, because a lot of people, you guys tell me your partners do a lot of this, which is good. That means they care about you. And some of you guys are saying, no, my partner does not do that, which I understand. But that's why these videos are very important. They're for information so that people can really know what to do with their own relationship. So let's go ahead and get right into it. What are some of the traits and signs and aspects you see in a relationship to know that an avoidant individual is serious about you and the relationship, okay? And so the very first one is that an avoidant individual will start becoming more self-aware of themselves. Now, it doesn't, of course, but self-aware of their behaviors and their emotions, how they're feeling, but also self-aware of maybe some of the things they could do better, right? And so this could mean even something that does not have to do with attachment issues. This could mean, let's say you said, hey, text me when you get home, and they forgot. And then you give them a little bit of time, and you bring up, by the way, you told me you would text me, and usually you get home around this time. Are you okay? And they will become self-aware. You know what? I was really out of it. I had a really rough day. You're right. Thank you for telling me. I apologize. Whatever it is, but yeah, I'm home. Let's say that was a conversation. This is not something you will see right away. Avoidant individuals take time to change. That's why it's very important to recognize if you're in the relationship for a couple of years and it's consistent and you both are doing some of the work and you're still not seeing this, it might mean that this relationship might not lead to the commitment you're looking for. However, if you are seeing some of this and you're still worried, why is this person, not being like, I don't know, Sally's husband, or why are we not married yet? But you're seeing all of these signs, it means that your partner probably is serious about you and you guys are heading towards commitment. Does that make sense? The next one is very similar, which is that avoidants will apologize and hold themselves accountable or appreciate when you hold them accountable. So we mentioned that they're more self-aware. So they mention, I'm really stressed out. I usually text you and you're right, I just forgot. So they were aware the reason why they did what they did. But the next step to that is they apologize, right? I apologize for doing that and I appreciate you bring that up to me, or you're right, that's on me. Next time I'll do better, whatever it is. Now, this is just an example. It's not that serious. Texting somebody when they get home, as long as people are safe and no one got hurt and, no one's, unable to get home for whatever reason, this is not too big of a deal typically in relationships, but it's just an example and you can reflect this upon other aspects of the relationship. So as long as you're seeing they're apologizing as well as holding themselves accountable / allowing you to hold them accountable, these are steps that this individual is serious about you, because most avoidant individuals are very comfortable in their life being by themselves. I've said this many times, especially if it's a dismissive avoidant. And most of the time when I'm talking about avoidance, I'm talking about dismissive avoidance or fearful, leaning heavily dismissive. They're fine being by themselves. I promise you, most of them are. The fact that they are with you and they're changing, it's a lot to them. It's a lot to them because most of them are completely fine being by themselves. What's the point in changing when I can be 100% happy by myself? Most avoidants feel that way. Avoidants have said that to me in session. It's very common, but they want to get better and they want to change. And if they are showing these signs, even if they are subtle to you, they're very important to avoidant individuals. They are serious about you because you wouldn't be here if they weren't completely honest. Most people think that avoidant individuals just keep somebody on the back burner or until someone better comes along. While that does happen, that is not really common with avoidantly attached individuals. It might be somebody who's not interested in you or they're unavailable for the moment emotionally, but a person who is truly avoidantly attached from childhood and developed in this way, they don't really keep people on the back burner because what's the point? They don't benefit from being with people typically. And so if they let somebody in their life, it's only if it really benefits them. Avoidants don't tend to feel lonely or they're missing out or whatever it is. Sometimes, but very rarely. Fearful avoidance, yes, sometimes it happens, but dismissive avoidance, they don't really feel that way. It's true. They really don't. If they do, they're not even aware of it. So they're not going to have like a backup partner or typically, not all the time, right? Everything I say, take it with a grain of salt. Everything has its own, every person's different, right? But typically they're not going to have a partner they're just keeping on the sidelines. If it feels like that to you and you feel like you're the partner where they're going to one day replace you, that's probably not the case. You're just not getting what you want out of the relationship, and have a conversation because they probably think it's a great relationship and it's very emotional and committed and whatever, but you might not see it that way. But that doesn't mean you're a placeholder for somebody better. That's probably not going to happen. You're probably the best that they have and that's what they want. Otherwise, they wouldn't keep you, truly. Not all the time, but it's just something to think about. Another aspect and trait, more like a behavior that an avoidant individual is truly serious about you is after maybe bedroom intimacy or a date or some sort of satisfactory conclusion in an argument. They express themselves how they feel about the connection. So they might say, I really enjoyed that. Let's say you went on a date or you were intimate in the bedroom. I really enjoyed that. Or after an argument, they say, I feel better, or that made me feel better. They're expressing it. Now, a lot of times avoidant individuals don't do this, and this is what secure individuals do, is they say, I feel better. How about you? Avoidant individuals typically, no matter how serious they are, they don't reflect, or they're not asking how you are. That doesn't mean they don't care about you. It's just, it's very, their emotions and how they express themselves is in a different level than yours because when they were younger, they were just not, they didn't use those muscles, right? If you're starting to lift weights or, I don't know, even run on a treadmill, right? A lot of people when they're first starting it, even walking on a treadmill on an incline, it hurts your legs, it hurts your calves. But if you're doing it for a while, it's a lot easier. It's just, it doesn't mean that one person has a different skill set necessarily originally when they're young, but as you work on your different skills, you develop them better. Avoidant individuals did not work on the skill set of communication in terms of connection communication, right? So if an avoidant says, I feel better, that's a huge step for them even to tell you that. So saying, I feel better, how do you feel? Or what about you? That is something they probably didn't even consider or think about just because they're still so stuck on the first step of them even expressing themselves, if that makes sense. So they are probably going to open up to you. I feel better. I enjoyed that. That felt good. Very simple, but still emotionally opening up and expressing to you. And when an avoidant does this, take it for their word. They're not saying it to make you feel better. They really feel like that. And if you see those signs, this is a very important sign. They really care about you. The next one is they ask about your family, your friends, or things that's been going on. Now, I think this is very important because this does not happen in the beginning stages of a relationship with an avoidant, but you start seeing it more as the relationship deepens. I'm going to give an example of something I see pretty often in session where one person, let's say an anxious, preoccupied individual, feels really hurt that their partner does not see or ask about the details of their day, right? The avoidant partner might just be like, how's your mom? Or did you get the oil change? Maybe they hear little things about when you talk, but they don't ask the details. How's your mom? I heard she was sick. Or did you get that oil change? I know you were, thinking maybe you should get your tires rotated. What happened with that? They don't ask the little details. They remember that you were talking about your mom and they said, how's your mom? A lot of people think that means they were barely paying attention or they barely care. believe it or not, they heard probably everything you said. They just didn't realize that you wanted more details or that was something to be asked, because they don't think of the world like that. They just don't. They don't operate that way. They don't sit there and think, with their own life. They don't think, how's my mom, she's probably sick, let me ask her. Or how am I feeling right now? Am I feeling this way? Like my boss, was really disrespectful towards me. So should I say something? They don't think about things like that at all. They just think, okay, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. What's next on my checklist? That's how they think. So when they say, how's your mom? That's a lot for them, because honestly, they don't even think about their own lives. And a lot of avoidance, actually, this part I'm about to bring up is a little more common with fearful avoidance, but both dismissive and fearful avoidance tend to not even care about like things about themselves, like their own birthdays, or they're uncomfortable with getting gifts. And so they don't feel like, sometimes they feel like that question might be invasive if it was the other way around. So when they ask you, how's your mom, or did you get that oil change, they're listening to you intently, and they're doing that also because they know that you want to talk about it, or it'll make you happy to express. And so it doesn't mean they don't like your mom or whatever you're talking about. It actually means they care so much about you that even if it's not something that's so important to them, they will talk about it with you. So often this is a common issue in couple sessions. It might not be common for y'all, but where one person might say, he doesn't ask enough, or if I feel like he doesn't care, he just asks, how's your mom, very briefly. But he might say, and I'm saying he because most of my patients are men, it doesn't mean all avoidants are, he might say, I do care. I listen to every little detail. I'm always listening to you. I hear everything you say. When I ask, how's your mom? It's because I know you told me last week she was sick. I didn't realize that you wanted me to reiterate the entire scenario again to you, just to prove that I heard you. I wish that you would trust that I hear you, right? And so a little bit of a tangent, but in general, if they ask you details about your life, even like the most smallest amount, it's a lot to them, believe that or not, okay? The next one is they value a component of their life. How would I say it? They value what you add to their life that's specific to you. So this is a strategy I use in couples therapy. So this might not apply to any of you guys, okay? But often avoidant individuals, especially in the beginning of the relationship, they cancel a lot. And it's typically because of scheduling issue. Not all the time, but it is. And I made a video on that recently, but I'll make an updated one. Typically, it's like they don't like to be seen at certain times because they're decompressing themselves. And so what I do with my couples in session is I let them pick specific days where they can hang out together. So let's say it's like Monday night and Thursday night. Let's say that's their schedule. Once an avoidant individual feels comfortable and safe, they are very protective over those specific components that you add to their life. So let's say for this example, a scheduling example, this person, let's say avoidant is a male, he makes sure his work is done before you come to the house. He makes sure he has no other plans always. He always makes sure that everything's ready for you. He's got a plan ready for what you guys are going to do. And because he values that small component of that you add, not even small, but that component, right? It's something that they're protective over. So I guess a better way is to say protective over the specific things about you that add to their life. You can also see this in certain things like any sort of details you add in terms of maybe food that you cook, maybe types of clothing that you buy them. Like if you bought them a shirt, they might be very protective over that shirt you bought them, or maybe it's like their favorite shirt, they always wear it. So they really value you, but in a very tangible sense, right? It's not always verbal. I value you so much. I love you. I think about you before bed, maybe, but you see it more physically. They value the shirt you bought them. They value the food you cook them. They value the time you guys are supposed to spend together. They value that. And that's how you know an avoidant individual is very serious about you, because you're very integrated in their life. The next one is they're honest with you, even if it disappoints you. This is very important because a lot of avoidant individuals do not like making people mad, because then the fight will just continue and it just wastes their time, and then they don't have enough time to decompress, and they'll be accused of things that they didn't do. And so a lot of avoidant individuals, this is not their favorite thing in the world. But if they're honest with you, even if it'll disappoint you, that means they care about you and they're willing to sit there and work through whatever your disappointment is with you, okay? The next one is they invest in the relationship. It means putting effort in improving it. It means sitting in that discussion that you guys don't want to. It means working through disagreements. It means defending your relationship against others, okay? They invest in the relationship. The next one is they expect you to change your attachment issues as well. They might not say directly as, oh, I want you to change your anxious attachment or whatever it is. They don't say that. And this might not apply to a secure person, by the way. If you're secure, it's probably not going to apply. But they might say, hey, I noticed that you've been struggling with jealousy a lot. I'm really honest. And I feel like you don't trust my integrity and my character, and it's always being questioned, even though I tell you the truth all the time. I really think that I want you to work on this with your therapist, or I want you to process this, and figure out what the source of this is. And this particular concept, jealousy, it comes up a lot in sessions. So I'm not saying you guys are like jealous types of people, but almost so many of my couples, the anxious one tends to always have this fear. And I don't think that's a bad or good thing, but it's definitely one of those things that can really push a partner away. Just a bit of a side note. The next one is they tell you they don't want to disappoint you, make you cry, make you upset, or hurt you. They tell you that. That doesn't mean they're saying, I'm secretly a bad person and I'm going to make you cry. Usually it's after they resolve something with you. Maybe you're really upset that the frequency in the bedroom has decreased significantly and you feel like they don't find you attractive. They might say, I really, I'm struggling with this and it's nothing with you. I'm pulling away, but it's just something that I always do. I've always had this issue, but I don't want to disappoint you. I don't want to make you cry. So I'm going to try and work on it. Maybe that's what they said. It's not that they're saying they're a bad person, but they are honest that your feelings really matter to them, and it's part of what motivates them to change. It happens a lot. The next one is sharing day-to-day stressors. They open up about daily stress, work meetings, personal hurdles, whatever it is, and it indicates they're comfortable with you and they feel secure in the relationship, securely with you, right? The last one is they fulfill your requests. This one I think is one of the most important ones, because avoidants who do not care about you or who are not serious about you, maybe they do love you, but if they're not serious about you and love you, they're not going to do this. Only ones who are serious really start doing this. They fulfill your requests. If you say, I don't know, let's give an example rather. Let's say they previously avoided commitment on planning like a vacation or something. And that's something you really wanted. And maybe the first couple years they kind of avoided it. But as you guys get more deeper in the relationship, maybe you ask, hey, I want to do something this summer. And they are willing to do that for you, right? They're willing to fulfill your requests. Maybe you said, I want us to do more things together as a couple. This is very important to me. Maybe they don't care at all. Like truly, they probably don't care. Not in a bad way, in a way just that's what they are. They really don't think it's that necessary, but you do. And so if you do, they do, because they love you. They're serious about you. So they fulfill that request. You want a vacation? Then y'all are going to have a vacation, right? And I think this is very important because most relationships have a give and take. And part of the reason why avoidant individuals struggle the most with relationships is they struggle with the giving part. They're better at the taking part. A lot of y'all know it. The giving part is really hard because what is giving? It's vulnerability. And so if they're giving you the request you wanted, it doesn't mean they don't like you or they're just doing it to make you happy or they're scared of you. No, they give you what you want because they care about you. And so this is probably the most important one, okay? So those are some of the reasons and aspects that you can see in a relationship that an avoidant is serious about you, okay? I hope this video was helpful to somebody. Please like, subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.